Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, sorry for the lack of videos, I actually just moved into a new place, as you guys can tell. We'll be talking about NBA free agency. It starts tomorrow. You know me, I'll be doing, hopefully, if my work does not interfere, live on live reactions. So I want to hear right now down below, what do you expect to happen in free agency tomorrow? So let's get right into today's video. Hit that like and subscribe button to help support the channel. And the first one, the big news, Kyle Lowry is most likely headed to Miami. Okay, a sign and trade centered around Kyle Lowry for Goran Dragic, Precious Achiuwa, and it looks maybe some picks, but it seems like Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa are the main bargaining chips, and we could see maybe a little other contract sprinkled in there, but this trade makes sense. Look, the Raptors get a tweener in Precious Achiuwa, a guy who can play power forward and center, and then they get a veteran guard to run the guard position with Malachi Flynn and Fred VanVleet. Now, I really like this deal for Nick Nurse because he gets Precious Achiuwa, Goran Dragic, and bringing in Precious Achiuwa could soften the blow if Chris Boucher does leave. Now, the Heat, their starting lineup is Bam Adebayo at center, Jimmy at small forward, or you could argue that Jimmy should start playing power forward with Duncan Robinson at the small forward position. You put Kyle Lowry at point guard, Tyler Hero at shooting guard, and then off the bench, hopefully you bring back Victor Oladipo, and we know he's going to miss most of the season, but maybe he comes back for playoff time and be your sixth man, Victor Oladipo, and you bring him back on a very cheap contract, kind of a prove-it deal to reestablish his value. And the other teams that do have a shot for Kyle Lowry but are less likely are the Dallas Mavericks. You know, obviously, I think it's the Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans Pelicans, and there's one more team right now slipping my mind, so let me hear your thoughts down below. Next up, the Wolves will have the Timberwolves will be looking to make moves. They moved Ricky Rubio, and Gerson's Rosas is a guy who all the restricted free agents are coming back. Jared Vanderbilt and Jordan McLaughlin coming back. I expect Gerson Rosas to look for a guard. Look for one of the cheaper veteran guards in free agency along the lines. Obviously, I would really like a TJ McConnell or an Alex Caruso type guy going to Minnesota, but look for Minnesota to get all shooters and defenders. That's what they need. 3-and-D guys, or guys who are good at defense and are like a 36-37% three-point shooter, or 40% career three-point shooter who's usually a plus defender. Just look out for a guy. Even Will Barton could be a guy that Minnesota might go after because they like him. Same thing with Jermichael Green. Elfrid Payton is a guy who was formerly rep by CA. That's not really irrelevant, but Elfrid Payton's a guy who we could see go to a contending team. I'm not, you saw what the Suns did with Cameron Payne. I think a team might be looking for Elfrid Payton to be there this year's Cameron Payne. But I think Elfrid Payton is the guy we see today, a defensive-minded guard who's pass first and doesn't really like to score. Evan Fournier seems like he's not staying in Boston, okay? Evan Fournier is looking like he's leaving, and it looks like Boston is losing in confidence in their ability to sign him. And then over here, it looks like Jeff Green could go back and pursue a contract with the Boston Celtics. Now, Jeff Green would be interesting because he would probably back up the power forward spot. That the starting lineup next year could be Robert Williams and Al Horford and Bruno Fernando rotating at the center position, with Jabari Parker and Jeff Green rotating at power forward, and then Jason Tatum at small forward with maybe Romeo Langford as his backup. Then at shooting guard you have our boy Jaylen Brown, who could have they just traded for Chris Dunn, so you can maybe move over and use one of your other players. I'm literally blinking on one of the guys that I was just discussing about. My landlord just texted me. But I really like what the Celtics could do there if they do lose the ability to re-sign Evan Fournier and they bring in Jeff Green, who would be cheaper. Frank Ntilikina did not receive a restricted tag, so he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. And yes, Frank Ntilikina is a guy who I also believe, similar to Elfrid Payton, teams could be looking for him to be this year's Cameron Payne. A team with a very good starting point guard could look at Frank Ntilikina or Elfrid Payton and be like, look, you're perfect for what we want. You'll be our backup point guard playing 15 to 25 minutes a night. All you got to do is play really good defense and dish the ball out and maybe get the occasional efficient bucket. Nothing more. Don't stress yourself. Just do that. Stay within your bounds, and I think you could do a lot. So Frank Ntilikina is a guy I really like. Chris Paul is a guy who allegedly is going to decline his contract, and he's going to decline it to renegotiate with the Suns with a two-year plus one deal because he's about to reach the 38 and up rule. And then the Warriors waived their man Allen, who he's been awful. He's awful. And the Suns look right here. They said they're optimistic that they can reach a extension. I said this: Justice Winslow wasn't gonna get his option picked up. No one's paying Justice Winslow $13 million. DJ Wilson, who we thought was gonna be a stretch for and never really developed into it, his rookie deal finally expired and they didn't give him a qualifying offer, so he's out. And Kawhi Leonard's supposedly gonna stay, but I really truly believe that Kawhi Leonard could be a dog and head somewhere where he wants. And Rudy Gay, the Heat have interest in him, and I would love that if they bring back Trevor Ariza and Rudy Gay backing up Jimmy Butler, or even being the starting power forward rotation, would be really interesting. It would space the floor. People forget Rudy Gay had 4 or 5 years of being a 20-plus scorer per game. Nicholas Batum has mutual interest with the Warriors. This is wild. I really like it. He's competing, and he's looking really good in the free agency. And he also has a really good relationship with Kenny Atkinson, who was an assistant coach on the Clippers. So imagine Batum backing up or being the starter. Now, it looks like DeMar DeRozan, it's the Spurs, the Raptors, the Heat all have interest. And I really could see DeRozan being the consolidation prize if they miss out on Lowry, because DeRozan's probably going to be cheaper, and they could run as point forward and have Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson at shooting guard and point guard, and have Jimmy Butler and DeMar DeRozan being the small forward power forward duo, and those two guys splitting primary ball handling duty with Bam Adebayo. Malik Monk is a unrestricted free agent, and I expect him. I would love for him to go to Minnesota. I really want him to go. I think Malik Monk in the right situation could be most improved player next year. Brandon Goodwin was a guy that I really wanted to go back to Atlanta, but they didn't tender him, and I think it's because they drafted Sharif Cooper, and they're pretty content with that. Somebody that I was very, very interested that he didn't get a tender, but there is strong interest in him being re-signed, is Grant Riller from College of Charleston. He was the 56th pick last year, and I was impressed by him. So, the Nets bypass Chris Chiozza and Mike James, which Mike James is interesting because I thought they would at least try. So, But Svi got a qualifying offer from Oklahoma City, and they need to keep as many shooters as they can. And Yurtseven is a guy who's still in the summer league for the Heat, but he got his option not picked up. I'm surprised Matt Thomas got waived by the Jazz. He's one of the best shooters in the league. The Cavs are interested in a sharpshooter, either Alec Burks or Doug McDermott. That could be interesting. And they're probably going to have to add an extra guarantee year to boost their appeal. And this guy called it the Cleveland tax. And Al Burks looks like might be interested in, again, I said a reunion. And sources says that the Lakers, Alex Caruso or TJ McConnell will not be pursued by the Cavs as they have received Ricky Rubio. So it seems like they're looking for the right fit. I'm surprised Willie Cauley-Stein stayed, and I thought that was just because they're going to do a deal. Devontae Graham received a qualifying offer, which I found interesting, but I think he's going to go somewhere and he can be, and I truly believe in the right situation, he'll be the most improved player of the year next year, without a doubt. Zach Collins is going into free agency, and he's definitely not coming back. And at the deadline, it's been revealed Kelly Oubre was almost traded to the Miami Heat, or they at least attempted to. Isaiah Hardenstein will be a free agent. He did not receive a qualifying offer. And Bojan Marjanovic will look like he will be going back to Dallas. The Lakers and the Warriors are interested in Andre Iguodala, and he was once represented by Rob Pelinka. And he said in a podcast 2 years ago at Howard Beck, "Rob is my man. He's always been good to me. My wife loves him." So it looks like he's probably going to go to LA. Chicago is very interested in Lonzo Ball, and the Bulls decline the $3 million team option on Ryan Arsendio, and he could be a candidate to return on a minimum deal, but I think a team's going to snatch him up. So let's look what's else out here. I think I've seen most of this. I think the ones that I found very interesting, the Knicks could be the suitor for Carmelo. I want him to go to LA, but maybe he wants to go back to New York. I doubt it because Tom Thibodeau likes defense and Carmelo doesn't really play it. Spencer Dinwiddie is the big news. Spencer Dinwiddie allegedly is going to Washington. It's not a done deal, but basically Washington is offering up Montrezl Harrell or Kyle Kuzma. But the thing is the Nets don't know if they want Kyle Kuzma or Montrezl Harrell, or if they want either of them, or they want both of them, and the Wizards don't want to trade both of them. If I'm the Wizards, trade both of them. Imagine the starting line. Oh, honestly, I'd rather trade Kuzma than Harrell, because I like the idea of Harrell being part of that center rotation. But if you trade both, it's fine, because then you have Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal. Small forward, you got Denny Avdia, and then at power forward, Roy Hichimara. Center is a rotation of Alex Lynn, Thomas Bryant, and Daniel Gafford, and you can bring back Alex Lynn or Robin Lopez to make it a 3 or 4 man rotation. Backup power forward for Roy Hichimara is Anthony Gill. Backup small forward for Denny Avdia is Trey Murphy. Backup for Bradley Beal would be, I think that was a little harder. I think they need to get a free agent. Hopefully they can bring back Raul Neto. And Spencer Dinwiddie, if they can bring back Ish Smith, I wouldn't think that's a bad team. That's a 4th or 5th seed. Wayne Ellington's looking like he's interested in joining the Lakers. And the Lakers are also interested in bringing back JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard after they had less than ideal results with Drummond and Gasol. Like, Gasol ended up becoming the starter, but I don't know if Gasol wants to stay, because he might want to get a Barcelona and play with his brother. But keep an eye out on JJ Redick too. He could go to the Lakers. And yeah, that's I think that's it, guys. I think that's what we're gonna call it today. Reggie Barry got a qualifying offer. Bucks and Pacers are interested in Lou Will. Clippers interested in DeMar DeRozan. Lonzo probably going to Chicago. And Patty Mills is a guy who could go to the Lakers. And so Dwight Howard, I said earlier. Serge Ibaka exercised his player option. Told you Jordan McLaughlin and Jared Vanderbilt probably going to stay. Amir Coffey got a qualifying offer. So did Amani Brooks, Anthony Lamb. So yeah, guys, Lakers interested in Carmelo. Wow, they signed this guy, Didi Lozanda, and he played 3 games last season after spending a couple. And wow, Didi Lozanda. Okay, guys, that's it for me. I want to hear your opinions.